everyone, this is Chelsea coming in, or Odera, sorry, coming in with another lunar report. So today I'm going to be talking about the new moon that we should be expecting on July 23rd. The new moon is in Leo, and it's in the I can't even say the first degree, it's in the 0th degree of Leo, so that's really important. It's really cool. You know, we're looking at kind of like I don't want to say surface level, but the root of what Leo is about, but not quite the root. It's almost, it's not as though Leo has reached any full manifestation or embodiment yet. We're just at the very, almost like, if you can think of your first impression of a Leo, that's what the energy is. But beyond the degree, I mean, to me, I think degrees are very important. 0 degrees, especially in 29 degrees. But beyond that, we also have Mars conjunct this new moon. So for those who don't know, a new moon is when the sun and moon are conjunct. And so in this case, on this day, we also have Mars being conjunct this new moon. And not only that, the moon, the sun, a little bit lesser, to a lesser degree, the moon, because the moon moves pretty quickly. It's going to move on. But no, actually, the moon, the sun, and Mars will also be making a square to Uranus. Uranus is in 28 degrees Aries, which means that it's very, very close to 0 degrees Taurus. So, and in fact, you may even feel this before the new moon occurs, because it'll be in the 28th and 29th degree of, what's behind Leo? It's not Virgo. It's, no, it is. Wait, it's supposed to be a cardinal sign. Cancer. Wow. Cancer, yeah. It's going to be in like 28, 29 degrees Cancer, 0 degrees Leo, which will square Aries, which is now in 28 degrees Aries. Uranus. It will square Uranus, which is in 28 degrees Aries and is close to 0 degrees Taurus. So all that is to say, this is a very energetic new moon. My biggest advice would be, if you're trying to start something new, do it with action. New moons are about starting new things. You're starting a new 28-day cycle. I think it's particularly important if you want things to manifest, then you may want to start something new that you can see manifest within 2 weeks. Because the way it works is that you have the new moon, then you have the first quarter in a week, then you have the full moon in 2 weeks, which is the day that the things that you started 2 weeks before manifest. The full moon manifests what you started 2 weeks prior, but everyone's different. It really depends on your chart and all that. But after that, from the full moon to the third moon, to the third quarter, to the next new moon, you're cutting away things that shouldn't be, and you're ending a cycle. But you don't have to start something that is like that's only gonna last 28 days. I think that's foolish. But you can definitely start things. For example, last full moon, I started something. I had like a couple goals. I had like 5 distinct goals. I wanted to read more. I wanted to wake up on time and exercise. And I wanted to, what was the last one? I forget what the last goal was. Read more, wake up on time. I think part of it was doing affirmations. It's funny because the affirmations, I stopped doing the affirmations on purpose. It felt, I always say like law of attraction, because it's so like cute. Like it's so, I don't know, it's such a alluring idea that you can attract things to you just by thinking it. But at the end of the day, at least in my experience, at least recently, I was attracting things that like just weren't in alignment with myself right now. And so that presented me truthfully with one of two options. I could either shift my trajectory, shift my perspective in a major way, or I could stay comfortable. And surprise, surprise, I'm a Cancer, I decided to stay comfortable, you know. And those are one of the things from that new moon that actually I did away with, probably within the waning cycle. You know how it goes. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Also, I just thought of this. It's really interesting. A lot of people know the sign of their moon, but not everybody knows whether the moon was waxing or waning on the day of their birth. Not everybody knows whether it was a crescent or a full moon or a half moon. That's just something interesting to know, I think. So something to look at if you want. Anyway, let me get into what this moon means for everyone. Yeah, I don't know. I was gonna say more. It's action filled. Oh yeah, Uranus. So with the square to Uranus, it's not gonna be easy. Be very careful. You don't want to be explosive on this day, because Mars is like, so like Uranus is like a bomb. It's like the dynamite sticks, and Mars is the match. Mars isn't even a match. Mars is a burning house on its own, but Uranus will just throw in the stick of dynamite, say ha 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 ha, you know, like, you know, I don't know. So you want to be careful, especially if you're arguing with people. If you know, with the aggressive masculine energy of Mars and the very rebellious energy of Uranus, which Mars has a lot of, you don't want to channel this energy the wrong way and break the rules in the wrong way. But enough of that. I'm just going to get into what it's looking like for everybody. So let's start with Aries. Leo will be in your 5th house. So this could be a very passionate time if you have any passion projects. Work. It could be a good time to start a new plan for your business, a new plan. If you even have like, what is it? A relationship that you want to spice up, now's a good time to like try new things. If you have children, this is a good time to just kind of, I don't want to say start on a new slate because that's kind of random, but you know, check in with your children, see how they're doing. They may be going through a new chapter, whether it's a mini chapter or a major chapter. And since Taurus is in your 2nd house, be careful how that deals with your finances. Be careful how that may mess with your resources. If you do have a business, be wary of your, you definitely want to make sure that you have enough in savings, because you might have something financial come catch you by surprise. And if you don't, you're gonna have a lot of aggressive energy, so that may even anger you. So if you don't deal with it well, it can get out of hand. All right, Taurus. Uranus is in your 1st house, Leo's in your 4th house. Be careful at home. Domestic violence is definitely a possibility with this aspect. Just be careful, and not just, you know, like beating somebody. You know, it's a bit of a stretch to think that a single aspect can make you a wife beater, you know what I mean? But you want to be careful, you know, like verbal abuse, even sexual assault, you know, especially in the home, it goes unnoticed because people are like, oh, well, you know, your husband or your wife can't rape you. Like, no, they can. They could be inappropriate. Everybody's, you know, capable of that. But anyway, just be careful that you're not being too aggressive with your family, especially when you're trying to find yourself and when you suddenly have a need for, you know, identity, perhaps even an affair. You don't want that to surface, or even you don't even want to create that in your need to be different. You need to, you know, find a sense of self. You don't want to do anything that will disrupt the home. On the flip side, you may try to liven up your home space, especially your room, your specific room, wherever you sleep, wherever you lay your head at night. Try to liven it up, you know, trying to do new things for it. Anyway, Gemini, Taurus is in your 12th house of rest. Uranus is in your 12th house of rest and hidden enemies. And Leo's in your 3rd house. Try not to talk shit about people. Sorry, talk smack. Try not to talk smack. Try not to gossip. Some things may surface about hidden enemies that you didn't know you had. Take it all in stride. Try not to get too aggressive and try not to start up any wars, especially with hearsay. You may not even, it could really be on the slightest thing, especially when, for example, you may hear that so-and-so said one thing about you when in fact they said something different. But the thing that you heard had such a negative connotation that you're ready to go to war, but you're ready to go to war over nothing, or something that was, strongly exaggerated. So be careful. It'd be nice to start new friendships. Whatever friendships that you start right now may be geared around activity. So for example, if you have access to meetup.com, now's a good time to find people you can hike with. Now's a good time, especially, it's funny that I mentioned hiking, because especially with Uranus in the 12th house, you may suddenly go somewhere very far, very distant. So now's a good time to find new friends to be active with, or even just brainstorming. Find new friends to release some of this aggressive energy, or else it may explode on you. Okay, Cancer, Taurus is in your 11th house of recognition, and Leo is in your 2nd house of resources. So the people in your community or your social circles may be trying to get at your resources, which is, nobody likes to be taken advantage of. 11th house doesn't have a lot of negative connotations. It's really just awards and social circles. So maybe you're suddenly put in a social circle that puts a strain on your finances, or you're suddenly given an award that somehow you have to pay for it. I don't know. I don't know. There is that who's who thing. But even, for example, I recently won the Fulbright Scholarship Award, but it's actually costing me more money than it's giving me. But there's prestige involved, but not even the prestige. It's really, it is an honor to get this award, but also the opportunity to do research is far more important than whatever it's costing me. But it is costing me, and it wasn't necessarily sudden, but that's just an example of how something good and prestigious can actually cost you money and kind of be negative and even bad, because I wasn't expecting that whatsoever. Anyway, otherwise you might want to start thinking new plans for your resources, for your finances, even the things that you eat. You might want to start up a new diet, a good one. All right, Leo. So obviously this new moon is in your 1st house of identity. Taurus is in your 10th house of professional life. I strongly recommend that you do not do anything that will jeopardize your professional life around this time in your search for individuality. Maybe you want to try new things. For example, maybe you want to start drinking. You've never drunk before and you want to start drinking, which is very aggressive. Or not really aggressive, but just on this day you may start aggressively drinking, and then all of a sudden your boss is like, yo, like WTF, so, or just, the next day pictures resurface of you, looking blue in the face, pass out on the floor, throw up everywhere, some of the things that you may want to do now that are exciting and that you may not even think about doing them, you may just do them so quickly, may definitely have repercussions in your workspace. On the other hand, if you decide to do something that is even vaguely, related to what you do for work, now is a good time. Now is a great time where you may receive recognition for it, or just, it may tie into work. So it's not all bad. Nothing is ever all bad. You just may have to put in a lot more work, especially if you consider Mars as a bolt of energy that tends to be negative. You have to put in the work to expel that energy in a positive way. All right, Virgo. Uranus is in your 9th house of travel and intellect. And Leo's in your 12th house. Right, yeah. Yes. Okay, so, oh, sorry. I mean, most of these things are for ascendant signs, but to a lesser degree, sun or moon. But I do say these things as though I'm talking to you, as though I'm talking to your ascendant sign. Keep that in mind. I should have said that at the beginning, but whatever. You guys know the drill. So Leo's in your 12th house. So, you know, now's a good time to explore new ways to rest. Explore new ways to maybe pass time on the weekends, or maybe plan a way to have a good vacation. If you're lucky, Uranus will take you there because that's 9th house of travel. If you're unlucky, you may be bogged down by theoretical ideas in terms of your spiritual life. Your spiritual life could be plagued, which is 12th house, could be plagued by theory, which is 9th house. I personally believe they should be separate, you know, separate but equal. For example, theoretically, I may believe in one thing, but spiritually, I'm not really aligned with that belief. Even, like, I would say theoretically, I think Buddhism is sweet. I think Buddhism is really nice. But spiritually, I'm not really there. Spiritually, I cannot let it go. You know, so you may be having some toss-ups with yourself that day, or even with a spiritual leader. If you are part of a religious group, you may have some fights, or, you know, some aggressive attitude or tendencies towards people in your spiritual circles. So be wary, or even hidden enemies. But if you want to start new things, I definitely think you should start a new way of resting, even in a more active form of, it's not a form of rest, but for example, people feel very relaxed, and I don't want to say well rested, but like people feel very rejuvenated after yoga, especially Bikram yoga. I used to do Bikram yoga. I did it for like a month. It was amazing. I'm not even gonna lie, it was amazing. I only had one bad day, which was actually I think my last day, but that's only because like I spent the whole day walking in the sun, sweating a lot, so I obviously lost a lot of liquid. I didn't eat a lot all day, and then I tried to go to Bikram yoga, and it's like, you know, how was I thinking? Of course it was going to be very hard. I felt like passing out every 3 seconds. But otherwise, every other day was really nice. It was work, but it was so good for my soul, for my body. It was just really, really nice. If anybody doesn't know, Bikram yoga is, it's a type of yoga that's done at 100 degrees in this steamy ass room. So yeah, it was fun. City life. Anyway, so that was Virgo. Libra, Taurus is in your 8th house, spooky occult things. And Leo is in your 11th house of recognition. This is definitely, I could see, especially if you've been like aggressively trying to like work things out with the occult, and use the occult for like bad things. But I could see this as your public reputation being tainted by things that you're doing in the occult, or even getting recognized infamously, because a lot of people say like 11th house is fame, but you could get infamously recognized for things related to the occult, or things that are taboo, or things that were hidden, or things that you tried to hide. This is definitely not a day where you want to actively hide things. Nah, the universe is not having that, especially with Uranus there. Things will suddenly just, you know, reveal themselves in your 8th house, you know what I mean? Like Uranus, especially when it's triggered in this way, like you just don't want to try it. You don't want to try it. But some of the things that you could start anew, great time to start any humanitarian effort, great time to start up new social circles, new projects within your social circle, and let's see, social circles. Yeah, I would leave it at that, because the only other thing that 11th house is known for is awards. And I mean, you can start working towards one. Fine. All right, Scorpio, we're really moving on. Scorpio, Taurus is in your 7th house of relationships, and Leo is in your 10th house of reputation. So you may suddenly, sorry, first thing I thought it was like Bill Clinton and like his little like thing on the side. Sorry. She's a woman, I know. She has, I forget her name. It starts with an M, right? I forget. But his little side chick, I know she's like a valid human being. That's not a thing. But that's what I thought of, is basically relationships suddenly tainting your image in your professional life. Now, they don't have to be bad. At the same time, a sudden an authoritative figure, a relationship that you have with somebody in authority can suddenly bring you good fortune in your professional life, and can advance you dramatically in your professional life. You know, for every good interpretation, there's a bad interpretation, and vice versa. But always remember, and I forgot to say this for some people, Mars is conjunct this new moon, so you gotta put in the work. And for all I know, since Mars is part of this aspect, whatever you start now, you may have to work, you know, for the course of the lunar cycle, you know, but most definitely today and at the beginning, you know, sometimes things just need a spark and a little bit of energy to begin, kind of like working out. At first you may need that spark, but then it comes second nature. So at first it's like you need that Mars energy to get up and get it done, but then afterwards it falls into a more Saturnian energy where it's just routine. Okay, so that was Scorpio, right? Yeah, 7th house of relationships and self-image. So yeah, you can be somebody, one of your connections can help you in your professional life, or one of your relationships can really dog you out in your professional life. Nevertheless, you definitely want to start new things with your professional life, start a new chapter, do something new, start an innovative project, whatever you think that will help you in whatever profession you have, or just how society sees you in general. Like, for example, if you're an activist, which I don't know if that counts as a job, because I don't know if you get paid like that, but you know what I mean. Sag, Taurus is in your 6th house, and Virgo is in, Leo is in your 9th house, right? Okay, 6th house and 9th house. So you may even want to start, because 9th house is like your house. 9th house is your home. You may feel inclined to think of new theories, think of new ways to think about, you may have new insights on philosophy, theology, just theory, intellect. You may even want to voraciously study whatever new thing that you came upon. Use that Mars energy to brainstorm and to use that brain power to study whatever it is that you were, that you now have new insight into. Perhaps you want to like live by a new philosophy and you want to start that cycle. Okay, use Mars to really study it. Use that Martian energy to really go at it aggressively. On the other end, don't argue with if other people don't have your same beliefs, especially if these are people that you see on the day-to-day, especially people at work. Maybe you don't want to talk to your workmates about this because it can get, you know, argumentative and explosive. On the other hand, whatever theory you come up with, you may suddenly find like a day-to-day routine application for it. It's funny, I'm gonna tell everybody else at the end of the video, but there's something that I came upon recently, because I was recently at this graduation party and I met this guy from high school who, like, we didn't really talk much in high school, but like we were just talking about stuff, and all of a sudden he's like this super evangelical, like, you know, gave his life to God, is gonna be a missionary type dude, and I'm like, wow, like I didn't know missionaries still exist. Sorry. I really didn't, like, you know, but beyond that, the fact that like he really is like a devoted Christian now, like, I don't know, I think that's rare among young folk, in my opinion. Maybe I'm in the wrong circles, but actually no, it's not. It's rare, but it's not that rare. Like, I do see in almost every institution I'm in, I do see like people my age who are very engaged in Christianity, but not always like the mainstream people. I don't know how to explain it, especially without being insulting, but I was just really shocked by it. And he was like, oh yeah, so like, are you religious? And I'm like, nah. I'm spiritual, I guess. I'm trying to be more spiritual. You know, it's hard. Michael always says because my moon's a Gemini, but it's like I'm very much based in the here and now, like empiricist. Like, if I can't see, if I can explain it, it's hard for me to latch onto it. I want to believe it, but it's just hard for me to latch onto it. And his biggest advice was pray. And he was saying the way that he got closer to God was that he prayed, like, I think he went to this like Bible camp where they prayed for like 30 minutes a day or something, like a long time to pray, and it was just prayer. And he said that God showed himself to him, and I was like, oh, that's really, really cool. So I thought about it, because like there's something I always say, I'm like, I'm sometimes envious of people who are very religious, you know, Christians or whomever, like Islamists, Buddhists, whatever, because they just have this like emotional peace. They have this emotional self-assurance that, you know, all will be well because God has their back. Like, what better, you know, what bigger relief can you have other than knowing that the most powerful entity in the world has your back and regards you as their own child? You know what I mean? So I always like it. I wish I had that, but I just don't believe in that. So it's, you know, it's hard for me to believe in something I don't honestly think is real. Sorry. But he was like, my biggest advice to you would be to pray. And I was like, like, I don't want to take this advice just because I think he's cute. Because that would be pretty terrible. And then I'm like, you know, but I can at least try it, because I feel like there's no harm in trying it. And if I'm wrong, I would have wasted nothing. Because I also feel like, again, with the law of attraction and a lot of like these neo-spiritual, you know, like things of thought, they all to me emphasize prayer. They all talk about, you know, sending your prayers up to God or sending your prayers up to the universe. And it feels like just that, and like also sending them as though, you know, they're either being heard or they're either being answered. You know what I mean? Like, with that certainty. And it feels like, or it seems as though, just that action is all you need. The action of prayer, or, you know, speaking your affirmations out loud or whatever. I feel like it's all the same, you know? So when he said I should just pray, I was like, you know what? I could try it. But I felt ingenuine, very ingenuine. So I decided to pray to myself. Don't call me self-centered. It's a new moon in Leo. Maybe you should try it and make it a routine and see how your life changes. But no, really, like, now every day before I go to bed, I say a prayer as though I were speaking to God, but I'm really just talking to myself. I'm just like, you know, dear me, thank you for taking me through another day. Thank you for giving me good health. Because in reality, and everybody has their different beliefs, so please don't attack me, but in reality, in my mind, the reason why I'm healthy is not because, you know, some invisible entity gave me health. On the one hand, like, yeah, but on the other hand, I did that myself. I went running myself. I made healthy food myself. I am glad and happy that I was able to, because not everybody has access to these resources, and that's where like that other separate entity comes into play, and I do acknowledge that. But on the other hand, I pat myself in the back, like, you know. But beyond that, I also ask myself for things. Okay, sorry. I also ask myself for things that, you know, I kind of have no control over. Just because I'm sending it out into the world and putting it back in my consciousness, like, this is what I want. This is what I want to have happen. And not like random stuff like, oh, I want a Jaguar, but also like, you know, I want this application that I'm filling out to go to medical school to go smoothly. Please make it happen. And I know that I can't make it happen, but the more that I remind myself and ask myself to do it, it just, on the one hand, it's almost like me putting my trust in the universe that it will work out. And on the other hand, it's like me putting it in out of my subconsciousness into my conscious arena, so that I can do everything that I can possibly do to make sure that it goes well. So anyway, that's just a tip. I'm gonna refer everybody back to this moment, or back to this little spiel, because I just wanted to share that with everyone. And who knows, maybe I'll become a Christian because of this. That'll be the day. But anyway, you may want to start new theories. You know, I would definitely consider that the thing that I came up with as a new theory, and maybe Uranus will suddenly gift you with a way to make it daily routine. On the other hand, the theories that you may be engaging in, or like the way you view life and your perspective, may put a fork in your routines. I don't know if that's what they call it. Anyway, Capricorn. Taurus is in your 5th house of passion, lovers, and business. Leo is in your 8th house. Now's a good time to start new spiritual systems, to even start a new search into your history. That may reveal something suddenly that you can profit from. It may reveal, for example, maybe you find out that your great-great-grandmother was Italian, and now all of a sudden you're inspired to have an Italian restaurant, and now all of a sudden that makes a lot of money. You know what I mean? Like, that's a bit of a stretch, and it probably won't happen in as short of a time that we're looking at, but it's an example. For example, maybe you search your history and you find out that somehow your family has original documents of, like, you know, the Constitution, which I don't think anybody else has except some random museum, but like something like that, or like original documents of letters from Abraham Lincoln, you know, or even the Kennedys. And then suddenly you're like, oh wow, like, well, 5th house, you can't really, I was gonna say you can sell that, but, you know, I'm thinking more in terms of business. Basically, something from your history can unearth in which it can suddenly spark a good business idea that you may want to run with. On the other hand, in your search of your history, or in your spiritual endeavors and your spiritual searches, anything that's to do with the occult or the taboo, you may suddenly have a lover in the mix. You may find out about hidden lovers in your family. You may find out that your father is not your father. You know what I'm saying? On the other hand, a more negative interpretation of this is, if you're starting any new spiritual system, it may be challenged by those who you hold dear in your life. It may be challenged by your children. It may be challenged by any current hobbies and projects that you have. For example, maybe you like to play poker, but you just recently, on this new moon, started a new religion that said no gambling. Then you're just kind of like, ah, damn. And maybe you like to drink when you play poker, and this new religion's like no drinking. You're like, ah, damn. Yeah, those are the type of manifestations, but you can definitely work it out. Just try to get the aggressive Mars energy out, because if it clashes with Uranus, it's just gonna, you know, be bad. So Aquarius, new moon is happening in your 7th house of relationships, while Taurus in your 4th house. So if you do start a new relationship that you may or may not be taking seriously, they could definitely end up in your home. The first thing I thought of was, let's say with all the aggressive Mars energy, you decide to have a one-night stand. All of a sudden that one-night stand, especially if you're married, that one-night stand may appear at your house the next day, and all of a sudden your family is introduced to somebody that you didn't think they'd be introduced to so quickly or at all. Don't play with Mars, don't play with Uranus. Okay, so but on a positive note, you may just have a new, you may find somebody new who, like, all of a sudden is a part of your family, like a long lost cousin. Or you may even, on a more mundane note, you can you can meet a new relationship or start a new relationship that helps you increase your property value, or helps you find new property all of a sudden. Maybe you didn't even know you wanted a new house, and they're like, hey, I see a really cool house. Or maybe, I mean, most people who buy new houses know they want a new house. So maybe you've been looking for a new house, and all of a sudden you have a new friend, and they're like, oh yeah, I think I saw a really good house the other day, and like, bam, you finally got the house you were looking for. For example, if in that example, right, you would have had to put in a lot of work to make that friendship, because Mars is aggressive. Or maybe you, like, let's say let's say your new moon cycle resolution is to start engaging with your friends more, and you're looking for a house, and your friends are like, you call up your friends and you're like, hey, let's go house hunting together. So now you guys are all going house hunting, and it's like all day long, and you're like going from one place to the next, which is very like, sorry, it's very Martian. You're getting rid of this energy, and then that's how you find it, because you put in the energy, and it's sudden. It's probably like the last house that you didn't expect. Anyway, that was Aquarius. Yes. Okay, now we're on Pisces. So Leo is your 6th house of routines, and then Taurus is your 3rd house of communications. So with routines, definitely a good time to start a new diet, start a new workout plan, start anything new that you do every day. Maybe it's even just, I mean, if you think routines like things you do in the morning, things you do at night, things you do at work, and communications may surface randomly that help you or hurt you. It really all depends. In terms of the 6th house, new moon, you definitely want something that will aggressively be geared towards healing, because Mars otherwise is very destructive, and making a square to Uranus, you know, things can blow up in your face, as I've been saying. But that's all I have, folks. Everybody tune in to, like, I think it's around 27 minutes when I started talking about this recent revelation that I had about praying to myself, which is not as conceited as it sounds. All right, so that's all I have. I'll see you next week at, I think, the first quarter. All right, bye.